I did my communications research project on how the COVID-19 pandemic affected relationships. So, at the beginning of the pandemic, which was caused by the COVID-19 virus, which is highly contagious, it kind of put an abrupt stop to things. The way that everyday life was for people, they could no longer go about things in a normal manner. They were isolated to their homes. Their day-to-day activities changed very vastly from what they were beforehand. There were people who were not able to isolate, so instead they had to work on the front lines. So that meant being exposed daily to this life-threatening virus. And our textbook mentions that we have a need to belong theory, which proposes the idea that people were born with a drive to seek, form, maintain, and protect strong relationships. So the pandemic had lasting effects on both personal and professional relationships. So a lot of these challenges stemmed from the fact that many leisurely and celebratory activities were canceled or postponed. So weddings, graduations, birthdays, even funerals could no longer be held the way that they used to be. It was a big change for every day-to-day activity. So the stuff that could not be postponed, like school and work, had to be found a way to work around this pandemic and not being able to leave the home and congregate. Many of these activities went to online work and virtual communication, which posed some issues of its own. People were learning how to navigate this. And then of course there was those people, again, who did not have the opportunity to work from home, so they spent their days exposed to the illness, which created a fear of, am I going to contract this myself? Am I going to bring this home to my loved ones, spread it to people I don't even know? So that created a lot of fear as well. Well, if I can get my PowerPoint to work. All right. And so what these challenges meant for people's relationships was a lot of big changes. According to a Harvard study, several factors contributed to a decline in mental health, such as a fear of oneself and loved ones contracting the virus, a decrease in job security or household income, and an increased workload. So people were overworked, underpaid, scared. They were scared they were going to lose their lives, their jobs, their home, their loved ones. So that really had a big impact on mental health. And then a study from the Washington University Foster School of Business showed that workers were far less effective at building relationships when communication was primarily virtual. So that led to a decrease in productivity in the workplace. So that stressed out, upper management, which also led to more stress falling back down on the general population of employees. A scary, stressful time for everybody. More stress meant, harder things at work, which just meant harder jobs in general for everyone. And of course, those people that were on the front lines that had to see this illness in their everyday lives and how it was really affecting everybody. Also really affected their mental health. And so a decline in mental health meant devastating effects on people's, of course, I just mentioned their professional relationships, but also personal relationships. An IU Bloomington study showed that there was an increase in feelings of depression, anxiety, loneliness, and more isolation and fights between partners. People were angry, scared, so it really took a toll. It was devastating on the relationships inside the home, outside of the home, and just in general with communicating with people. It became harder, really hard. So there was a bright lining to this, though. Relationships were able to overcome these challenges. People are strong and they're smart, and even though the pandemic did take a lot of lives, careers, relationships, and opportunities from people, it taught us a lot of things as well. Virtual communication can be hard, but if you are an active listener and you are attentive to the nonverbal cues, then you can still be successful in this virtual communication. Many people continue to use virtual communication and virtual methods of work and school in their everyday lives. Even 2 years post-outbreak, I personally do virtual school, online school. It works best for my career, so I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity for that. It also brought about a lot of light shed on mental health awareness and how important it is. There's a lot of forms now for reaching out for assistance, including online virtual assistance, virtual therapy, virtual counseling, all of those kind of things that people might have not thought about beforehand. Virtual was scary, but it's opened up a lot of doors, and there's a lot of help with depression, anxiety, and general stress, and so it's okay to reach out for those. Absolutely, don't forget that. And there were effective methods of communication in personal and professional relationships, and they're important. So people had to learn a lot about new ways to communicate and initiate and maintain the relationships that they had. So it may have been scary, and it may still be scary and devastating, but if we don't look at the bright side and we don't continue on with life and we don't use these for the positive things, then we won't be able to continue. So I am very grateful for all of the good things that it brought, as well as learning from the challenges.